Pelipper looking for that aggressive wing attack farm down, which we get, and we leave absolutely loaded. Back out comes Drapion. We're going to full send the Hurricane. Hurricane going to land for big damage. Drapion then looking to get off the crunch, but the opponent plays the CMP tie. They do not win, and Pelipper popping off. Firstly, shout out to Home Slice Henry for that quote. And secondly, welcome back to the channel. More or less the home of Shadow Pokemon, as my friend Callum said. We used to exclusively run Shadows, however, unfortunately, Niantic are drip feeding us the new Mon, so we're pretty much stuck with what we've got, and I've showcased more or less everything. On Saturday, I managed to obtain 100% Wingull that I caught in the wild, and I thought, fuck it, let's power up for Ultra League, let's use some spice. However, I then looked on Pvpoke and realised it's ranked 23rd. I was like, why does no one use it? Perhaps it's a sim hero. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't expect it to be particularly good, but my god, was this thing a monster. I was able to gain over 200 elo in a single day. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, I leave my Shadow Alolan Sandslash, a Pokemon I like to call Sonic the Hedgehog, into Guzzlord, a very nice shiny from the opponent. I don't really raid, as I pretty much run Shadow Pokemon, so I don't have one, and I'm pretty jealous, as it looks quite sick. But this is a very nice matchup for us. We land the Ice Punch, the opponent fires off the Brutal Swing, we're going to fire off the Ice Punch, just looking to get this thing out of it. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, look to snipe with Toxicroak, my washed up reflexes, managed to be quick enough, and we send out the Flying Toilet. I highly doubt you'd Mud Bomb bait a flying type. As we've got 2 shields, I correctly shield up the Shadow Ball. Toxicroak's pretty attack weighted, and Pelipper has around a 3600 stat product. That's just bigger than Greninja and worse than Charizard. So despite this being level 50, it is very glassy. Back out comes Guzzlord, we fire off the Hurricane. Hurricane goes unshielded, get that Guzzlord out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is Nidoqueen, and Pelipper is very quickly showing you all why it's ranked number 23 on Pvpoke, as it has so many good matchups. The first Weather Ball forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. The second Weather Ball gets Nidoqueen below half health. Poliwrath will knock this thing out with one move. We may as well force the energy with Sandslash. The opponent needs to Earth Power to knock us out. They go for the Poison Fang bait. We've got the Ice Punch locked and loaded, so I'm just going to shield this up. Throw the Ice Punch. We're not going to send out Poliwrath, giving it a well-deserved rest on the bench and win this game as quickly as possible. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Sonic the Hedgehog into Sylveon, a very nice lead. And it's even better for me that the opponent is opting to stay in. So 2 turn into 3 turn. You want to throw at 1, 4, 7 or 10. I opt to throw at 10. Imagine the opponent will switch out. We land the Drill Run. I'm thinking this Ice Punch should knock out. We won't have residual energy, but we will leave insanely healthy. In hindsight, that's a huge misplay, as this Side Shock isn't going to do a lot, so I may as well overfarmed. A clear example of me being far more washed up than I used to be. The opponent sends out Skeledirge, we save Sandslash and send out Poliwrath. Poliwrath can easily tank any one move. The opponent throws a Disarming Voice, we throw 2 counters and the Scald. So 2 turn into 5 turn, you ideally want to throw at 2 or 7, so I opted for 2. The opponent's looking for the resisted Incinerate farm down. They chicken out or recognise we'd reach a further Scald, opt to dump some energy, and we now have the perfect alignment. Of course, we can send out the Flying Toilet into Skeledirge, another very favourable matchup for me. And we've got Sandslash, potentially to beat whatever's in the back. The opponent builds to a potential Shadow Ball. They bait with the Disarming Voice, but no bait. We'll be saving this Skeledirge's fate. Weather Ball will easily knock out from here, and does secure the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Greninja. As I said previously, Greninja is even glassier than Pelipper. So I'm not even attempting to throw a Hurricane. I'm just going to go straight Weather Ball all the way. You can see that 1 Weather Ball and the wing attacks have already got this thing almost below half health. And we're almost doubled up on 2 further Weather Balls. The opponent forced to start shielding Weather Balls. The first one lands. The second one won't be lethal, but will leave the opponent insanely low. This game is pretty much signed, sealed and delivered, but we may as well make a catch for no reason whatsoever. The opponent throws the Night Slash. Potential win combo, the opponent would be looking for the full Water Shriek and farm down. They opt to throw back-to-back Night Slashes, and like that, we're just going to wing attack farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see Sonic into Gator. The opponent will reach the Hydro Cannon after 5 Shadow Claws. However, most opt to throw on 6, which would be charge attack priority. So I count to 6, catch onto Poliwrath, where the move is not only resisted, but as we're on an ABB team, we're always looking to bait out a potential electric type, as we do here. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with how an ABB team works, I'll quickly explain it. So you're going to have an A type that looks to cover your 2 B types weakness. So today, Sandslash has access to Drill Run, which of course is going to hit the electric types for super effective that our B types are weak to, or in Pelipper's example, double weak to. So you can see we drew out Ampharos, managed to kill it with Sandslash, and now hopefully Pelipper will be able to sweep the back line. This is my very first set playing Pelipper. I just powered it up, and I honestly was not expecting a non-stab Ice Beam from a non-Shadow Gator to do that much damage. I instantly regretted not shielding that. The opponent sends out Guzzlord. We fire off the Hurricane, nuking the opponent through 2 Protect Shields. Unfortunately, my switch timer doesn't pop up. I'm unable to get off the Weather Ball, and we now find ourselves in somewhat of a tricky situation. In fairness, I've got 2 Protect Shields. There's no need to look to call that bait. However, would you even be watching one of my videos if I didn't reverse 2 shield flex at least once, heading into the next battle? We see Drapion on the lead. The opponent safe switches into Tapu Fini. I'm going to look to stay in, try and force a Protect Shield, and then look to catch a Surf eventually onto Pelipper this time, rather than Poliwrath. Because if the catch is unsuccessfully, I don't fancy tanking a Nature's Madness, whereas Pelipper will absorb 1. We're going to fire off the next drill run, forcing our protection. I pause a turn, try and make that catch. The opponent shows great composure, holding their energy. Pelipper is going to be able to absorb the Nature's Madness. These water guns are resistant. I commit to the very aggressive wing attack farm down, which we get back out. Comes Drapion, and we full send the Hurricane. Hurricane lands, rocking Drapion down to around 3rd health. The opponent then plays the CMP tie. They do not win, and then if they want to get rid of Pelipper, they're going to be forced to burn a Protect Shield. Pelipper has done its job. Thank you very much, Flying Toilet, for your contribution. I can now just send out Poliwrath, look to counter farm down, and we've got 2 versus 1. So let's see what the opponent wants to do. The opponent sends out Annihilate, and this looks pretty tricky, to be honest. However, the opponent makes a mistake not building up to the Shadow Ball, so I'm easily going to be able to tank the Night Slash. The opponent has no Protect Shield, so of course we're just going to full send the Scald. Scald lands for massive damage. The opponent this time does at least look to bait the potential Shadow Ball, so I catch it onto Sonic, using it as the 3rd shield. The opponent full sends the Shadow Ball. Perhaps that's an undercharge, but regardless, they're not going to be able to win this battle. The opponent finds himself very quickly in Icy Wind range. Icy Wind secures the knockout. We counter farm down Drapion and take that game. In the next battle, we see another Tapu Fini in the lead. As I said previously, running an ABB team, you ideally do want to pivot at some stage. However, I don't want to switch in Poliwrath into Tapu Fini, and I don't think Pelipper with a double weakness to electric is a good safe switch. However, I do know that Sandslash wins this in the 0 shield, or in an ideal world, the opponent's going to give me a Protect Shield here, look to win lead, and then Poliwrath won't be particularly bad into most electric types, especially with shield advantage. The most common ones are going to be stuff like Heliolisk, of course, weak to counter, Magnezone, weak to counter, and Ampharos, just pretty glassy overall. I send out Pelipper, look for the wing attack farm down, heartbreakingly the opponent reaches the die in Nature's Madness, getting us below half health. Out comes Empoleon. I'm going to bank the Hurricane for the road, pivot into Poliwrath, drawing out Goodra. Poliwrath completely core breaking the remainder of the opponent's team, especially the 2-to-1 shield advantage. The opponent shields the Icy Wind, desperately looking to get rid of Poliwrath. Unlike a previous battle, I'm actually going to use my shields here. We're going to shield at the Thunder Punch, outpace to the next Icy Wind. Goodra is actually pretty bulky. Icy Wind isn't going to be lethal, however we are going to be able to counter farm down. The Penguin is going to have to throw a charge move, and I very quickly realised this is a Pelipper showcase, so Poliwrath, you've done your job, buddy. We've all seen how good you are. We've got the Hurricane locked and loaded, and despite it being resisted, it's going to be enough to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Pidgeot. This one is purified, absolute sacrilege. The opponent looks to stay in, so we're going to fire off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch, to my surprise, goes unshielded. Most Pidgeot users love to shield. The opponent can do whatever they like. I thought they'd Brave Bird and dip, but what do I know? This opponent horny for that debuff. We tank the Feather Dance, fire off the next Ice Punch. Ice Punch again goes unshielded, and I aggressively snipe with Poliwrath. The opponent sends out Giratina. Despite us being a fighting type, this isn't a bad matchup for us. Icy Wind hits for super effective and continually debuffs Giratina's already non-existent attack stat. You can see these Dragon Claws aren't doing much whatsoever. The next one will finally get us below half health, however we are going to be able to reach at least one further Icy Wind, perhaps 2, depending how greedy the opponent gets. This Icy Wind won't be lethal, but the opponent opting best to Protect Shield, and I'll be honest, I think that's a really poor shield, knowing I've got Sandslash. We're not complaining, we'll take all the freelo we can get. The opponent fires off the Dragon Claw, managed to commit to the full Shadow Claw farm down, and then pivot into Cobalion, and I respond with the Flying Toilet. We now find ourselves in the bait game. I think about calling it last second, I invest a Protect Shield, and of course I get baited. This is why I like to lose with 2 shields, to be honest, as I'd much rather die with 2 Protect Shields than shield a fucking bait. Having the Cobalion in the back obviously explains why the opponent did shield their Giratina, but regardless, Pelipper hitting for neutral the entirety of the time. You can see these weather balls are really adding up. We correctly shield the next Stone Edge. The opponent shields the weather ball. We're going to put the Stamp of Authority, going for the massive overkill Hurricane. Hurricane easily secures the knockout. Switch timer pops up. We pivot into Sandslash, and the opponent concedes the match. GG's. In the next battle, we see Sonic the Hedgehog into one of my favourite looking Pokemon, Alola Muk. Look at it in all its glory. A multicoloured pile of gunk. It takes the opponent 8 then 7 to the Dark Pulses. I actually didn't realise I lost CMP there, and I also don't know why my voice keeps cracking. Probably because it's 3 AM when I'm recording this, as the kids are in bed, and this is probably the only time I get to get a video out. As I said, it takes 8 then 7, so I was looking to catch the next Dark Pulse onto Poliwrath, but the opponent actually fired an Acid Spray. Very strange, but fuck it, we're just going to snipe him with Poliwrath, and our Poliwrath manages to draw out Togekiss. What the heck is this, like Season 7 or something? As Icy Wind comes with 100% chance low, the opponent's attack, Poliwrath able to survive the charms, reach one further Icy Wind, which is going to do some very respectable chip damage. So Muk is actually an IV dependent CMP. This is a very easy CMP win for Togekiss, so I opt to take the extra. You can see Sandslash rapidly running out of health. So we're going to fire off this Ice Punch. Ice Punch, of course, will be lethal. We've got a charge move banked, and out comes Ampharos. Fuck. Pelipper absolutely quivering its Pokeball, thinking Sandslash, please get rid of it. The opponent throws. I'm really hoping this Drill Run is going to do enough damage to put them into Wing Attack farm down range. However, as they aren't a Shadow, it doesn't quite do enough damage. I throw one Shadow Claw, transfer the Volt Switch onto Pelipper, sacrificing it to the Pokeos. I'm hoping one Shadow Claw knocks out. Unfortunately, it does not, and we'll take a tie. To be honest, when I saw Ampharos in the back, I'll definitely take the tie. That also cost me a 5-0 set. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Guzzlord in the lead. A nice lead for us. The opponent makes an insane play, looking to catch an Ice Punch onto Ampharos, sending out what we're looking for. With a huge energy lead, I'm going to send Drill Run after Drill Run. The first one gets shielded. We're already at the second. Does the opponent respect the damage? Get that Ampharos off my screen. The opponent will be switch locked when they send a Pokemon out. They send out Annihilate, and we respond with a Flying Toilet. A much better matchup than the Ampharos we saw in the previous battle. The opponent is on Ice Punch. We can easily tank a couple, but I've got 2 shields, so I'm just going to continue to farm up, shield the next one. I'm worried the opponent might look to make a catch. I'm going to pause a turn, fire off the Weather Ball. We've seen the Wing Attacks do a lot, so I think this should come pretty close to knocking out. The opponent then pivots out, saving Annihilate at low health. I'm hoping we survive any one move, but Crunch does secure the knockout, but this is still game over. I'm going to send out Sandslash. Of course, we've got 2 answers to Guzzlord. This Ice Punch is either going to do big damage or force the opponent's final protection. The opponent gives up that final shield. We send out Poliwrath. The opponent recognises the game's over and concede the match. Heading into the next battle. Nidoqueen. Hello, buddy. Long time no see. Ultra League is by far the league I play the most. I haven't seen Nidoqueen in a few seasons, and here we are seeing it in back-to-back sets. We land the Drill Run. I'm actually going to respect the Earth Power here. The opponent actually full sends. I'm hoping I can Shadow Claw farm all the way down. Unfortunately, I cannot, so we're going to catch the Earth Power onto Poliwrath. This is going to hit for quite a lot of neutral damage. I could have caught on Pelipper where it is double resisted, but I never want to say switch something with that double weakness. Because we've seen electric types certainly aren't a myth in this season's Ultra League. The opponent answers my Poliwrath say switch with Gliscopod. They choose to invest a protection on the Scald, so I'm thinking, what's in the back? If it doesn't like Poliwrath, I'm hoping it doesn't like the water typing, as opposed to the fighting typing, to be honest. We're going to send up Pelipper. Pelipper going to be able to absorb all of this energy at worst. They can hit for neutral with a non-stab Aerial Ace. The opponent firing off Liquidation after Liquidation. Even 2 don't get us below half health. To my surprise, the opponent does have an electric type. To be honest, I don't think this team makes too much sense. The ABA weak to ground. The opponent looks to call the bait. We nuke him with the Drill Run. We can now just fire off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch gets the opponent insanely low. They are going to need to Thunderbolt to knock us out. The opponent actually fire off the Grass Knot, which doesn't get the job done. We're going to want and throw the Ice Punch. Ice Punch, of course, going to be massive overkill. The opponent sends back out Glissapod, get the Shadow Claw farm down. I'm just going to continue to farm up. We know Nidoqueen is still alive, and I imagine the opponent is going to look to catch at some stage. The opponent does try to make that catch. We Wing Attack farm down, leave with the Hurricane, which of course is going to be massive overkill. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Yikes, that really is a yikes lead. We're going to be safe switching in a water type into a grass type. The opponent answers my Poliwrath safe switch with Tapu Koko. I'm going to full send the Scald. The opponent looks to call the bait trainer, fuck about and find out. Just like that, switch advantage is going to be mine. We shoot at the Nature's Madness. We're going to be able to get the counter farm down. The opponent actually has 2 electric types in the back. So this is fighting double electric versus steel double water. Can we pull it off? In fairness, Poliwrath's almost managed to take out both electric types. And my god, do we have a very nice Virizion answer in the form of our Pelipper. The opponent pivots back out into Virizion and Hi Buddy meet the flying toilet. The opponent farms to the Stone Edge. They full send it, but Pelipper hangs on. And at this stage, look at the wing attack damage. We can just go straight Weather Ball all the way. The opponent going to be forced to start shielding. They shield the first. Pelipper continuing to farm up. Of course, I am going to burn the final Protect Shield. Look at the others much damage as I physically can. I want and throw the first Weather Ball. We go for the undercharge and the off chance the opponent doesn't invest that Protect Shield. However, they do. Pelipper able to reach the next Weather Ball. I think the opponent definitely is going to smash their phone, thinking, how the fuck did I lose this battle? Well, trainer, all you had to do was keep alignment. You did not, and I'm going to say thank you very much for your contribution and my free win. The opponent has, of course, rage quit the app. We send back out Sandslash, Shadow Claw farm down the Ampharos, and we're going to take that game. In the next battle, we see Zygarde in the lead. To my surprise, the opponent is looking to stay in. We're going to throw out a good time in again after 7 Shadow Claws. The opponent shields the first Ice Punch. We're again going to look to throw out a good time in, get off the next Ice Punch, and then we are going to look to pivot at some stage into Poliwrath. 3 turn into 2 turn. I imagine the opponent would want and throw. I was going to look to catch onto Poliwrath. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful. We then look to catch the next crunch onto Poliwrath again, unsuccessfully. Our Poliwrath safe switch draws out Tentacruel. This, of course, isn't a great matchup for us, but it isn't the worst. It used to be better last season. When we're getting Scald debuffs, the opponent actually full send a Sludge Wave. Poliwrath able to hang on, reach an Icy Wind, which will definitely put this thing into Drill Run range. The Icy Wind debuff also means that this Scald isn't going to be too threatening. I'm actually going to look to fire off the Drill Run on the CMP tie. Drill Run, of course, easily going to knock out the opponent. Choose to invest that Protect Shield. I know I'm outside of Scald range. I'm just going to let it go. We're going to again look to farm up, throw the Drill Run on the CMP tie, and that actually allows me to be doubled up on charge moves. Drill Run, of course, massive overkill. I'm looking top right. The opponent actually send in Zygarde and snipe me. Very nice, trainer. I was trying to be patient, so I thought the opponent might send out something that does resist ice, and I wanted to drill on it, like maybe like a Registeel. However, they actually had nothing they could catch an Ice Punch on, as they got Trevenant in the back, but Pelipper easily able to clean up. We get that one hit KO and take that game. In the next battle, we see a great lead. The opponent safe switches into Shadowgate, or I try and catch onto Poliwrath unsuccessfully. As I'm stuck on the Shadow Claw animation, I should have thrown 5 and then switched, but it is what it is. This time we do make the catch and bank all of our energy in the process. Not only did we bank all of our energy, the Shadow Claw damage we got off with Sandslash should allow me to counter farm this Gator all the way down and leave minimal farm for the returning Granbull. You can see we do leave absolutely no farm whatsoever. Out comes Granbull, we fire off the Scald, looking to do maximum damage. Scald rocks the opponent down to around a third health. As I already have 100 energy on Sandslash, I'm going to send out Pelipper, look to wing attack farm down and get some energy on the bird as well. The opponent's final Pokemon is Swampert, and unfortunately it is going to be RPS for the win in my favour. Shout out this opponent who watches the channel. Unfortunately, we just had the correct alignment. After landing the Hurricane through 2 protections, I've already decided that I'm just going to go for the fast move beatdown, looking to end the game as quickly as possible. Good luck in your season, buddy, and I'm sure you'll get me next time. Heading into the next battle, we see another yikes lead. I instantly pivot into my own Poliwrath, and I quickly realise this is a Mud Shot variant of Poliwrath. So of course, Poliwrath only become popular when it got access to counter. However, I was one of the few people that used to run Shadow Poliwrath on Mud Shot, Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch, and it was still pretty good back in the day. If you don't have an Elite TM and you want to use Poliwrath, that's the moveset I think is the best. The opponent clearly have no response for Poliwrath. As they send out Registeel, I fire off the Scald. Scald does some decent chip damage, but as I'm debuffed, I'm just going to let Poliwrath go down. And to be honest, Sandslash isn't too bad into Poliwrath, especially when they're on Mud Shot, as Mud Shot doesn't do too much fast move pressure. I send back out Sandslash. We are going to be able to outpace to the Drill Run. Drill Run does about 45%, depending on IVs. Drill Run isn't quite lethal. We managed to Shadow Claw farm down, and I am spamming the switch. Switch timers are misaligned, so I'm hoping this Poliwrath is going to switch lock long enough for me to be able to wing attack farm them all the way down. The opponent's switch timer finally pops up, and out comes Swampert, Pelipper, core breaking the remainder of the opponent's team. They don't build up to a sludge wave, so we know this can only be a Hydro Cannon. As the opponent Icy Wind debuffed me, I'm going to YOLO Hurricane, hoping it lands, and it does. After the Hurricane landed, the opponent's pretty much going to be forced to start shielding Weather Balls, which is pretty brutal, especially when they're debuffed. Although speaking of brutal, I'm now shielding up Resisted Hydro Cannons. Switch timer has popped up, so I'm going to bank the charge move, pivot into Sandslash, catching the Hydro Cannon. We should be sitting in a pretty much unlosable position now. I'm going to fire off the Ice Punch, even if the opponent catches. I don't really care, as Ice Punch plus Shadow Claw would be enough to knock out Poliwrath, as they are quite low. The opponent stays in with Swampert. Opt to take out Sandslash. A win con from here is going to be fairly simple. Just wing attack farm this all the way down, shield up the Hydro Cannon, as it is going to do more than the Icy Wind. Hurricane Poliwrath for the dub. Do we need to Hurricane him? Is it necessary? Yes, super necessary. Always throw the big nuke when you get the opportunity. Weather Ball might not actually knock out after a debuff, to be honest, so Hurricane is going to be all she wrote. In the next battle, we see another Yikes Lilo Save Switch into Poliwrath. The opponent answers my Poliwrath Save Switch with Registeel. This is very flippable, and I need Switch at all costs. If the opponent doesn't get the Zap Cannon debuff, I should be able to counter farm this down. The opponent fires off the Zap Cannon, and of course they get the debuff, so I am going to throw the Icy Wind. After Icy Wind debuffing him, we will actually be able to survive a Zap Cannon. However, I'm thinking I may as well shield this up and look to apply some shield pressure to the return and annihilate. The opponent goes 2 for 2 on attack drops. However, we're going to give the opponent a taste of their own medicine. We fire off the Scald, looking to get the attack drop, which we get, and that is now going to allow us to survive the Shadow Ball. Not only are we going to survive, we're actually going to reach one further charge move. I farm to the Scald, throw the Icy Wind, just looking to get a guaranteed further attack drop onto this Annihilate, which will mean Pelipper's easily going to be able to survive a Shadow Ball and force the opponent to switch out. They send out Greninja. Again, we're going to look to sack Sandslash, as Sandslash pretty much is dead weight. We catch the Night Slash. The opponent doesn't get the boost, which is going to allow us to survive a Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon's going to rock us deep into the red. We're going to want to throw the Drill Run. Drill Run also won't be lethal, but this game should be over. The opponent should look for the Water Shriek and farm down. That would be their best chance of winning this game. They actually look to throw energy. We can just now wing attack farm this Greninja all the way down, leave with the Hurricane. The opponent doesn't have a Shadow Ball bank, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. What is on my screen? Are you serious? I throw one Shadow Claw, transfer the Incinerate onto Poliwrath, drawing out Shadow Gramble again. We're full sending, hoping the opponent looks to call the bait. Another opponent fucks about. They find out no baits on this channel. And again, we've managed to flip this matchup on its head. The opponent's Rapidash is now faced with Pelipper that completely walls all the energy. The opponent can only throw Flame Charge or Drill Run, but a boosted Flame Charge will start chunking as Pelipper is insanely glassy. We fire off 2 wing attacks and the Weather Ball. I am going to respect this boosted move, as can you imagine just how much a boosted Incinerate will do to Sandslash. The opponent fires off the Drill Run. The opponent then looks to make a catch onto a Lola Mock, a very nice Shadow variant. However, this game is just over again. The opponent had such good alignment. Sometimes in GBL, it isn't all that complicated. Just keep alignment, win battle. That is essentially how the Great League's played, with people trying to RPS the shit out of each other with nonsense picks like Wigglytuff, a Victory Bell and Bastiodon. Get yourself into a good matchup, tap your phone, win battle. This opponent didn't do that, and I'm going to emerge victorious. I did actually have one further set of battles. I was going to do a full 4 sets today. However, as you can tell by my voice, I'm making this video at like 3 AM till 5 AM. I am exhausted, so I'm going to call it there. If you appreciate that hard grind, give me a like and help this video be seen by more than about the 4 people that have watched my last few. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to the battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.